what a neuron looks like. So here we have a visual of that, and let's take a peek. So the main part of the neuron is the cell body, which is also known as the soma, and it has these extensions or these sort of cell membranes that are called processes. Now, neurons have one and only one axon, typically, a fiber that sort of emerges from the cell body and projects into target cells. And it is the axon that propagates the nerve impulse, and it's communicated to one or more cells. And the other processes that you see that are sort of fingering out, those are actually called dendrites, and they receive information from other neurons and specialized areas of contact called synapses. Now, what happens is the information flows through the neuron from these dendrites across the cell body and then goes down to the axon, right? And this is what gives the neuron a polarity, meaning that information only flows in one direction. And that's what happens where the axon emerges from the cell body. That's where the your neural information will flow in that direction, and that actual spot where it becomes the fat part of the cell body becomes this skinnier part of the axon is called the axon hillock. This tapering off the cell body towards the axon fiber is the axon hillock, and there the cytoplasm changes a little bit, the contents change, and there's limited components of it, but basically it's called an axoplasm at that point. Now this axon hillock that sort of narrows and it begins to transition to the beginning of the axon, it's actually called the initial segment there, and that's where action potentials are generated, and it's sort of the trigger zone, I guess, which is a combination of your axon hillock where it tapers down and that initial segment of the axon. Now then what happens, as you can see in this blue part, these axons are wrapped up in insulating substance called myelin, and this myelin has a lot of transmission properties, right? It has insulation and helps those signals move faster. But between the myelin are gaps, and these gaps are going to be called the nodes of Ranvier. And it's important because they play a role actually in how the electric signals pass down. So the length of the axon between each gap, which is wrapped in myelin, is actually referred to an axon segment. So each one of those blue things is actually a segment. And at the end of each axon is an axon terminal.